Good morning, everyone. This is lecture number 56 of Engineering Thermodynamics. In today's lecture, we will start boiler performance. Now, what is the boiler performance? How boiler performed? Boiler performance include evaporation capacity, evaporation, equivalent evaporation, then efficiency of the boiler and other parameter includes the boiler performance. Now, we'll see evaporative capacity. Evaporative capacity is expressed in ME. M represents mass flow rate of evaporated water. Evaporative capacity is the ratio of mass of steam formed. Evaporation capacity is the ratio of mass of steam formed to the mass of fuel burnt, and it can be expressed in term of kg of steam per hour, kg of steam per hour per meter square, or kg of steam per kg of fuel burnt. Now, equivalent evaporation is the amount of water evaporated. Equivalent evaporation is the amount of water evaporated from freed water at 100 degrees Celsius and formed into dry saturated steam at 100 degrees Celsius at normal atmospheric pressure. At normal atmospheric pressure, boiling point or the saturation point of a water is 100 degrees Celsius. Means it is expected that at atmospheric pressure means 1.01325 bar, water should be evaporated at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, the feed water is supplied less than the 100 degrees Celsius, but it is in this it is in equivalent evaporation. Whatever feed water is supplied at whatever temperature, that feed water is evaporate at 100 degrees Celsius into dry and saturated steam. Therefore, it is expressed in from and at 100 degrees Celsius. Means from 100 degrees Celsius and at 100 degrees Celsius. Means water is supplied at 100 degrees Celsius, and that water itself evaporated at 100 degrees Celsius into a dry and saturated steam. As the water is already at a boiling point, temperature is required only latent heat. As the water is already at a boiling point temperature, it requires only latent heat at 1.013 bar to convert into a steam at temperature of 100 degrees Celsius. The value of this latent heat is taken as 2257 kilojoule per kg. Means water is supplied at its saturation temperature means 100 degrees Celsius. Water is supplied at its saturation temperature of 100 degrees Celsius, and at that temperature water is evaporated. But to convert saturated water into saturated steam, we need to supply latent heat, and that latent heat is called as a heat of evaporation. Heat of evaporation. The change of temperature from subcool temperature to saturation temperature is a sensible heat, but water is supplied at saturated temperature means water is supplied at 100 degrees Celsius at atmospheric pressure, but that is at saturated water condition. We need to convert saturated water into saturated steam by supplying a latent heat, and that latent heat required is a 2257 kilojoule per kg. Means for 1 kg of water to convert into steam required 2257 kilojoule of latent heat. Now, equivalent evaporation from and at 100 degrees Celsius is the ratio of total heat required to evaporate feed water. Total heat required to evaporate feed water to the latent heat. To the latent heat. Equivalent evaporation is expressed in E, and its formula is total heat required to evaporate feed water upon latent heat required. And latent heat is expressed in HFG, and total heat is expressed in H. H represents the total heat. E is equal to ME H minus HF1. Now, H minus HF1 is the heat required to convert 1 kg of water into steam. H minus HF. H, H is the enthalpy of steam formed, and HF is the enthalpy of feed water. Okay, the difference of heat supplied is H minus HF1. Now, H is the enthalpy of steam produced, and HF1 is the enthalpy of feed water. this is the H minus HF1 represents the heat supplied to convert feed water into steam for 1 kg. Now total, we are talking about total heat required to evaporate. Therefore, we have to multiply it by mass of steam. We have to multiply it by mass of steam which is supplied per kg of fuel. We have to multiply it with the mass of steam supplied per kg of fuel, that is ME, evaporation capacity. Okay, therefore total heat required to convert evaporate into feed water is ME H minus HF1 upon 2257. Latent heat is 2257. Now evaporation capacity is ME, which is the ratio of mass of water evaporated or steam formed. Mass of water evaporated is nothing but the steam formed, that is MS. MS is the mass of steam to the mass of fuel burnt. MS is the mass of steam, MF is the mass of fuel. Therefore, ME is written as MS upon MF and its unit is kg per kg of fuel. Now look at here, unit of E. Here H minus HF unit has a 2 kilojoule per kg and 2257 is also latent heat. The unit of H minus HF upon this HFG get cancelled, only unit of ME remaining here. Therefore, unit of ME is kg of steam per kg of fuel. Therefore, unit will be kg per kg of fuel. This first kg is a kg of steam and second kg is a kg of fuel. In short, it is written as kg per kg of fuel. First is a steam. Now, factor of evaporation. It is defined as the ratio of heat required to evaporate 1 kg of feed water to the latent heat. Okay, look at here. In equivalent evaporation, we consider total heat required to evaporate feed water. But in factor of evaporation, heat required to evaporate 1 kg of feed water. Heat required to evaporate 1 kg of feed water to the latent heat. Formula is same, only difference is that in this case we are not considering total, we are considering only 1 kg. Therefore, we will not multiply this by ME. Therefore, factor of evaporation Fe is written as H minus HF1 upon 2257. Equivalent evaporation is written as ME H minus HF1 upon 2257. If we remove ME from this formula, it becomes factor of evaporation. Then boiler efficiency. Now, how boiler efficiency is defined? Always efficiency is always output upon input. Efficiency is always output upon input. Now, what is the output in this case? Boiler. The heat absorbed by the boiler is the output and heat supplied to the boiler is the input. Okay, it is the ratio of heat actually utilized in the boiler. It is the ratio of heat actually utilized in the boiler to the heat supplied by the fuel. Okay, efficiency is written as eta heat utilized or heat absorbed by the boiler. Sorry, it is a boiler, not generator. Upon heat supplied by the fuel. Now, heat absorbed by the boiler is ME H minus HF1 and heat supplied by the fuel is calorific value of fuel. Calorific value of fuel. Now, why I am taking only calorific value? This calorific value represents the heat content of 1 kg of fuel. Heat content of 1 kg of fuel. But here we have to take heat content of total fuel supplied. Heat content of total fuel supplied. Look at here. ME is the ratio of MS upon MF. MS upon MF. Therefore, second formula is eta is equal to MS H minus HF1. This is the heat absorbed by the water to convert into steam, and this is the total heat supplied by the fuel. Then nomenclature. T1 is the temperature of feed water in degree Celsius. Look at here. T1 is the temperature of feed water in degree Celsius. HF1 is the enthalpy of feed water. Now, whatever temperature of feed water is given, at this temperature we will find enthalpy of feed water from steam table. H is equal to enthalpy of steam produced at corresponding temperature or pressure. H is the enthalpy. Look at here. This H is the enthalpy of steam produced and HF1 is the enthalpy of feed water. Now the steam produced can be given temperature for the steam produced or pressure. Okay. Now H. Now steam produced may be a wet steam, saturated steam or superheated steam. Therefore enthalpy of this steam produced can be calculated in three ways. First we'll see for wet steam. If the steam is wet, then the formula of H will be HF plus X HFG. If the steam is dry, then we will take Hg from steam table at a given temperature or pressure. If steam is superheated, if the steam produced is superheated, then formula for H is Hg plus Cp T superheated minus T saturated. Now Hg will be taken from steam table, Cp may be given or we have to consider it. Superheated temperature will be given and saturated temperature will be taken from steam table at a given pressure. Or one more technique or one more method to find enthalpy of superheated steam, that we have seen in the unit number 4 in the steam properties. From the superheated steam table, we can find directly enthalpy of superheated steam using superheated steam table. For superheated steam, pressure and temperature both will be given. Now E is a equivalent evaporation. Unit is kg per kg of fuel. This kg is kg of steam per kg of fuel. Now Fe is a factor of evaporation. It doesn't have any unit because it is the ratio of enthalpy. Therefore it doesn't have any unit. Me is the evaporative capacity. It is the ratio of Ms upon Mf. Ms is a kg of steam and Mf is a kg of fuel. Therefore its unit is kg per kg of fuel. Ms is a mass of steam. Mass of steam may be given in kg per second or kg per hour. Mf is a mass of fuel, will be given in kg per second or kg per hour. Look at here. Unit of mass of steam and unit of mass of fuel should be same. If the unit of mass of steam is kg per second, unit of mass of fuel should be kg per second. If it is kg per hour, it should be kg per hour. Then Cv is the calorific value. Calorific value will be given in kilojoule per kg. Now numerical. First numerical. A boiler evaporates 3.6 kg of water per kg of coal. Look at here. What is the unit? A boiler evaporates 3.6 kg of water per kg of coal. Coal means a fuel. Look at here. 3.6 kg of water is evaporated. Means mass of steam produced. Water evaporates means steam is produced. Therefore here we can say the steam produced is 3.6 kg per kg of coal. Means unit is a kg per kg of fuel. Therefore 3.6 is a Me. Into a dry saturated steam. The steam formed is a dry saturated at 10 bar. Steam pressure is a 10 bar. The temperature of feed water is 32 degrees Celsius. Find equivalent evaporation from and at 100 degrees Celsius as well as factor of evaporation. Okay, look at the solution. First of all, we will see given data. The boiler evaporates means boiler produces a steam 3.6 kg per kg of coal. The unit, look at the unit, kg per kg of fuel. It is a Me. 3.6 kg is a Me. Kg per kg of fuel into a dry saturated steam at 10 bar. Pressure of steam is 10 bar and condition of steam is dry saturated. The temperature of feed water 32 degrees Celsius. Feed water temperature T1 is a 32 degrees Celsius. Find the equivalent evaporation, that is E, and factor of evaporation, that is Fe. Let us calculate E first. What is the formula? of E, Me H minus HF1 upon 2257. Now Me is given 3.6 kg per kg of fuel. We have to calculate H and HF1. Now what is H? H is the enthalpy of steam produced and HF1 is the enthalpy of feed water. Okay, let us calculate enthalpy of feed water. Now feed water temperature is 32 degrees Celsius. Therefore from steam table, go to the steam table, go to the temperature 32 degrees Celsius. At 32 degrees Celsius from steam table you have to check value of HF. Now value of HF is 134.2. Therefore from steam table at 32 degrees Celsius, HF1 is equal to 134.2 kJ per kg. Now H is the enthalpy of steam formed. Now the steam is a dry saturated. Therefore for dry saturated we take Hg. We take Hg from steam table and the steam pressure is 10 bar. Steam pressure is a 10 bar for dry steam. Therefore from steam table at 10 bar, go to the value of Hg. This is a snapshot of a steam table at 10 bar. Value of Hg is 2776.2. H is a 2776.2 kilojoule per kg. Now we can put these values, value of HF1 and H in this equation. E is equal to 3.6. 3.6 is Me. Then Hg is at 2776.2. HF1 134.2. Then 2257 is itself given in the formula. E is a 4.2 kg per kg of coal. Next is a factor of evaporation. Now the formula is H minus HF1 upon 2257. H is 2776.2. HF1 134.2 divided by 2257. Now factor of evaporation is 1.17. It doesn't have any unit because numerator is kilojoule per kg and denominator is also kilojoule per kg. Both will get cancelled. Next problem. The following observations were made in boiler trial. Coal used 250 kg. Coal used 250 kg. Simultaneously we will see the given data also. Coal is a fuel and it is 250 kg. Therefore mass of fuel is 250 kg. Look at here. The unit of fuel is kg only. The calorific value is 29800 kilojoule per kg. The calorific value is 29800 kilojoule per kg. Water evaporates. Water evaporates means steam formed 2000 kg. Therefore mass of steam is 2000 kg. Steam pressure 11.5 bar means steam is produced at 11.5 bar. Therefore pressure of steam is 11.5 bar. Dryness fraction is a 0.95. Look at here. Dryness fraction is given. It means steam is a wet. Whenever dryness fraction is given, steam is a wet steam. If the steam is dry or saturated or superheated, in that case dryness fraction will not be given. Okay, whenever dryness fraction is given, it means steam is a wet having dryness fraction 0.95. Dryness fraction is represented as X. Feed water temperature 34 degrees Celsius, that is T1 is equal to 34 degrees Celsius. Calculate equivalent evaporation, that is E, from and at 100 degrees Celsius. The way of writing equivalent evaporation is always from and at 100 degrees Celsius. Don't confuse by this form. Equivalent evaporation will always be from and at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay. Therefore, look at equivalent evaporation only per kg of coal. And the efficiency of boiler. Next is the efficiency of boiler. Okay. Equivalent evaporation from and at 100 degrees Celsius, E is equal to Me H minus HF1 upon 2257. What is Me? Okay, HF1 is equal to enthalpy of feed water, that is T1, 34 degrees Celsius. Okay, feed water temperature is 34 degrees Celsius. Therefore, from steam table at 34 degrees Celsius, HF is 142.5. HF1 is equal to 142.5. Then H is a enthalpy of steam formed, and steam pressure is given, and steam is a wet steam. Look at here, steam is a wet. Therefore, enthalpy formula will be HF plus XHFG at 11.5 bar. Therefore, from steam table we will go to the pressure chart. We will go to the pressure 11.5 bar and we will see the value of HF and HFG from steam table. We will put in this formula. H is equal to HF. HF is 789.9 plus X is equal to 0.95 given in the problem into HFG 1991.3, and it is coming to be 2681.8 kilojoule per kg. Okay, we got HF1 and H for this formula. Only remaining is Me. Now what is the formula of Me? Me is the ratio of mass of steam to the mass of fuel. Mass of steam is given 2000 kg. Mass of fuel is given 250 kg. Okay, therefore Me is 8. Now we will put these values in this equation and we will get E is equal to 9. We got equivalent evaporation as 9. Next, boiler efficiency. Efficiency of boiler, which is represented by eta. Formula of efficiency is Me, H minus HF1 upon CV. CV is the calorific value. Now we calculated Me, we calculated H, and HF1 we took from steam table directly. Then calorific value is given in the problem. Therefore, boiler efficiency will be 8, 2681.8 minus 142.5 upon 29800. It is coming to be 0.68. It is coming to be 0.68. But always represent efficiency in percent. Therefore, multiply it by 100. And efficiency is coming to be 68%. Now boiler draught. Now what is meant by boiler draught? You might have seen in the power plant there is a big chimney, and from the big chimney a flue gases is coming out. How that flue gases is coming out? The flue gas formed in the furnace is having a high temperature. And since it is at a high temperature, its density is lesser than the atmospheric air. Density of hot gas is lesser than atmospheric air. Therefore, since it is hot, it has a low density. Due to low density, it moves in the upward direction. The gas which is inside the furnace is called as a flue gas, and flue gas has a low density, not high, sorry. It has a low density. Because of the low density, it moves in the upward direction. It moves in the upward direction because of the density difference between hot gas and the cold air. Okay, hot gas inside the furnace and cold air outside the furnace, or we can say hot gas inside the boiler and cold air outside the boiler. That density difference moves the flue gases out of the chimney, which is called as a draught, or it is the pressure difference between hot flue gases inside the boiler and a cold air outside the boiler. It's called as a draught, which produces the movement of flue gases outside the chimney. Okay, it is the pressure difference between atmospheric air outside the boiler. It is the pressure difference. Look at here. Pressure difference or density difference. It is the pressure difference or density difference between atmospheric air outside the boiler and hot flue gas inside the boiler. For maintaining the constant flow of air and discharging the gases through the chimney to the atmosphere is known as a draught. Since hot flue gas inside the boiler is a less dense, means density of hot gases are less than the ambient air. The density of hot flue gas is less than the ambient air. Therefore, the flue gas moves in the upward direction. The flue gases rises in the chimney, means flue gas moves upward direction in the chimney, pulling denser fresh air into the combustion chamber, and that pulls the ambient air in the chimney. as the flue gases is moving in the upward direction, that produces the vacuum in the combustion chamber, that produces the vacuum in the furnace, and due to that vacuum the ambient air enters in the furnace for the combustion. Okay, this is a draught. Now draughts are classified as natural draught and artificial draught. Natural draught is produced mainly by the chimney. Draught is produced mainly by the chimney, is called as a natural draught. In this case we don't use any mechanical device or the device which required a power, and this natural draught is produced by the density difference and pressure difference between atmospheric air and the flue gas. Now artificial draught is divided into two types: steam jet draught and mechanical draught. Steam jet draught is produced by the steam jet and mechanical draught is produced by the fan and blower. Now steam jet draught is further divided into induced draught and forced draught, whereas mechanical draught is divided into induced draught, forced draught and balanced draught. Now most of the modern boiler depend on the mechanical draught rather than the natural draught, because natural draught is a natural circulation of the flue gas and the ambient air. Therefore the combustion process is very low. The combustion process is very poor. To generate the steam at a high rate, the combustion process is required at a very high rate. For that, in all the modern power plant, in all the modern boiler, artificial draught is utilized. Artificial draught is utilized. Therefore, natural draught has very less application. This is because the natural draught is subjected to outside air condition and the temperature of the flue gases leaving the furnace as well as the chimney. If the temperature of flue gas is very low and it is near to the ambient air, in that case movement of flue gas and ambient air will not be possible. If the temperature difference between flue gas and ambient air is very high, in that case movement of flue gas from the chimney is high. If it is less, then the movement will be low. Therefore artificial draught is implemented or utilized in all the boilers. Now look at here natural draught. First we will see natural draught. Natural draught uses chimney, and mainly chimney height is required. Chimney height is an important parameter for producing the draught, natural draught. Natural draught use chimney for producing draught. Hence natural draught is also called as a chimney draught. For producing natural draught, chimney height is very important. Therefore natural draught is also called as a chimney draught. In natural draught, hot flue gases flows due to density difference between hot flue gases and a cooler ambient air. In natural draught, flue gases moves in the upward direction because of the density difference between hot flue gases and the ambient air. As the density of flue gases is less and density of ambient air is high, flue gases moves in the upward direction. As the flue gases moves in the upward direction, it produces the slight of vacuum, and because of that vacuum ambient air enters in the furnace and combustion continues. The difference in density creates a pressure differential that moves the hotter flue gases into the cooler surrounding. Now advantages of natural draught: it does not require any external power for producing the draught. It does not require any external power, only temperature difference, pressure difference or density difference produces a draught. The capital investment is less. The maintenance cost is nil, as there is no mechanical part, there is no steam nozzles or no fans. Therefore no maintenance and no investment. Chimney keeps the flue gases at high place in the atmosphere, which prevent the contamination of the atmosphere. Since the chimney height is very high in case of natural draught, it sends or it discharges the flue gases higher in the atmosphere. Therefore the contamination of the atmosphere is very low. It has a long life. Next, artificial draught. The draught produced by fan or steam is called as artificial draught. Artificial draught are classified classified as mechanical draught and a steam jet draught. Mechanical draught and steam jet draught, or it is also called as steam draught. Now we'll see mechanical draught. The draught produced by the fan or blower. The draught produced by the fan or blower. In mechanical draught is produced by the fan or blower. Is called as a mechanical draught. Mechanical draught is classified as forced draught, induced draught, and balanced draught. There are three types of mechanical draught: forced draught, induced draught, and balanced draught. First, we'll see forced draught. This is the furnace and this is the chimney. In case of forced draught, a blower or fan is placed before the furnace, and this fan forces the ambient air in the furnace. Forces the ambient air in the furnace. Since this fan forces ambient in the furnace, this ambient air push the flue gases to flow through the chimney and exhaust in the atmosphere. Therefore, this draught is called as a forced draught, and the fan used for forced draught is called as a forced draught fan. In forced draught fan is placed before the furnace. Look at here, this is the furnace and it is placed before the furnace. This uh, this forced draught fan forces the ambient air in the furnace. Okay, in forced draught fan, forced draught fan is placed before the furnace, which forces atmospheric air into the furnace. Then induced draught. In induced draught, fan is placed before the chimney. Fan is placed before the chimney. This fan sucks the flue gases from the furnace and discharges flue gases into the atmosphere. Here, the action is suction action. Therefore, it is called as induced. And the fan used is called as an induced draught. Fan is called as an induced draught fan. In induced draught fan is placed before chimney. Look at here. Before chimney, induced draught fan is used, which sucks the flue gas and discharges flue gases in the atmosphere through the chimney. Which sucks flue gas from furnace and push into the chimney. Now balanced draught. Balanced draught is a combination of forced draught and induced draught. In forced draught, we use forced draught fan before furnace, and in induced draught we use induced draught fan before chimney. In this case, both forced draught fan and induced draught fan is used. Therefore, it is called as a balanced draught. There are some disadvantages of forced draught fan only if the forced draught is utilized, and there are some disadvantages of induced draught. There are some disadvantages of induced draught. Therefore, the combination of induced draught and the forced draught is utilized for the better performance. Therefore, in most of the power plant, balanced draught is used. The balanced draught is a combination of forced and induced draught. In balanced draught, both forced draught fan and induced draught fan are used simultaneously.